From Fisherman to Founder. That's the overarching theme for our reflections in these weeks and months as we journey with Peter from his calling as a fisherman on the Sea of Galilee right through to that place where he was the rock on which Jesus would build his church. And in our reflections this week, we are with Peter, as it were, in the boat. We're with Peter as he steps out of the boat. We're with Peter as he walks on the water with Jesus. Under our theme of, if you want to walk on water, you've got to get out of the boat. In our reflections today, we're going to focus on seeing the wind. I'm here on the beach at Royal Troon and I can certainly feel the wind. It's a little bit breezy today. And so what does Peter do? Well, Peter goes to the side of the boat. The other disciples are watching closely. They'd have seen Peter talk a lot, talk a good game before, and they now wonder how far he'll actually take this thing. Peter puts one foot over the side, carefully gripping the edge of the boat. Then he puts the other foot over. He's holding on, as it were, with grim determination and white knuckles. And then Peter does something. Peter does something. He lets go. In other words, he abandons himself to the power of Jesus, the one who has the power over the sea and over the wind. And suddenly, for the first time in human history, an ordinary individual is walking on the water. Peter must have been so excited. Peter must have been beaming with delight. Hey guys, look at this, look at me walking on the water. And then it goes pear-shaped. Then it happens. Peter not only felt the wind, but he saw the effects of the wind. Reality sets in. Here he is, having stepped out the boat. He's walking on the water in the middle of a storm with nothing beneath him, and he's terrified. In a sense, the storm should have come as no surprise to Peter because it was there all along. It's not as if the storm was suddenly whipped up the moment he stepped out the boat. No, Peter took his eyes off Jesus and began to see the wind. Reality set in for Peter. And you know, often reality sets in for us. Sometimes we can, as it were, step out our metaphorical boat with enthusiasm, with excitement, with energy. And before we've gone 2 or 3 steps, metaphorically speaking and spiritually speaking, we see the wind. We come across discouragements, we come across opposition, we come across setbacks. But you know, sometimes stepping out and seeing the wind involves facing the storm. Jesus, as I mentioned yesterday, never promised to anyone who would come after him and be his disciple, it would be an easy ride. Far from it. And sometimes we have to face our storm. The storm will not go away. But get this, Jesus, the one who has the power over the storm, is the one who will be with us as we, as it were, walk on the water through the storm. When you walk through those moments, I will be with you, says Jesus. But you know, even through the storm and even as we see the wind, we can find meaning in the storm. God often brings us through circumstances and through situations for a purpose. It's hard enough to get out of the boat when the wind is calm and the water's smooth, but sooner or later the storm strikes. In a marriage, in a relationship, in a financial situation, in a ministry, in health, whatever it is. And it's often in those moments when we're going through difficult situations that we find meaning in the storm. We find meaning in the storm. Storms have a way of teaching us what nothing else can. Let me say that again. Storms have a way of teaching us what nothing else can. And it may well be that Jesus has brought you or is bringing you to a storm, where as it were the clouds, just like the clouds here at Royal Troon are grey, are gathering. The sea is beginning to whip up. But through that storm, you can find meaning and purpose, because Jesus is bringing you through that storm for a reason. Yes, we can falter like Peter did in that storm. We are only human. Peter faltered, and we will falter too. It often involves forgetting that safe place of being in the boat. Peter forgot that safe place. He stepped out of the boat. But you know, seeing the wind involves focusing on Jesus. Peter saw the wind. Peter felt the wind. And what did he do? Lord, save me. Instinctively, he cried out to the Lord. He knew where that safety could come from. He knew where that reassurance would be coming from, and that was from Jesus Christ himself. Seeing the wind involved for Peter focusing on Jesus. Are you feeling the wind? Not physically, but spiritually today. Are you feeling the challenges, the setbacks, the opposition? Are you being battered, as it were, by the storm? Well, the word of God today from Matthew 14 and through the experience of Peter would be this: simply turn your eyes upon Jesus, look full in his wonderful face, and the things of earth will go strangely dim in the light of his glory and grace. Seeing the wind involves facing the storm. Seeing the wind involves finding meaning in the storm. Seeing the wind involves faltering. Yes, we will falter like Peter did. Seeing the wind involves forgetting that safe place. He's stepped out of the boat. He's gone for it. He's left that place of relative comfort and safety. And seeing the wind means focusing on Jesus. Today, if you're being battered by a metaphorical wind, turn your eyes upon Jesus and focus on him through the storm.